we're going to try to explain some numbers at some point. You're going to have to maybe get a pad of paper and a pen. It's a lot.
Hi, I'm Caitlin.
Hi, I'm Alex.
And you're listening to Raising the Game, a podcast covering the rise and opportunity, visibility, and accessibility of women's sports globally. We're a wife-husband team who are avid sports fans raising two young girls and find the exposure and investment in women's sports a gateway for them and other young girls like them to see their passions for play, performance, and leadership not as extracurriculars to be added to a resume or a discipline with an expiration date after high school or college, but as a real opportunity to build a career as an athlete, a coach, an analyst, an athletic trainer, director of sports operations, or maybe even a podcaster.
Each week, we're bringing you the top stories in women's professional and sometimes collegiate sports. We'll highlight primetime performers, key business decisions, economic impacts, and the growing opportunities for women's athletics. You'll hear our perspectives on these stories as fans, but perhaps more importantly, as parents who value these stories, what these stories mean for our kids. If there's a storyline or topic you'd like to hear us talk about, reach out via email at raisingthegamepod@gmail.com and on social media at RTG_pod.
All right.
We're here again.
We're back.
Another week.
We're back. Another week. Another quick shout we're going to make for just ongoing community support here in the Twin Cities area. Doesn't go away in the current situation. So we've been continuing to find ways to donate and support communities that are affected by the various things going on in our city. We'll continue to post links in the bio and our podcast notes and things like that for you to get involved. As we've mentioned before, we have a list of restaurants there that we really enjoy that are looking for support. Either they're not open. A lot of restaurants, I think, are really actually struggling in the Twin Cities area right now, just with kind of the uncertainty with moving around. And then some other ways that we've gotten involved are through donating to specific kind of community support network. So
I think Stand with Minnesota is one.
Stand with Minnesota. There. We did a little, we bought some cool merch from Soda Clothing. Shout out to Soda Clothing, who was giving their proceeds to a community fundraiser in St. Louis Park, which is where we used to live, really close to the city. So however you feel moved to get involved and support your community, we are here for that.
Absolutely.
And we have some options for you to check out if you're looking for a way to get involved.
Yeah, those will be in the show notes and the YouTube description. So check them out. All right. Favorite thing sports-wise of the week. I think it's going to be the same.
Okay. I knew you were going to pick the one that's going to be the same, and we'll say what it is in just a second, but I have some backups.
Oh, okay. You got backups. I have
a couple backups. But I'll let you kind of go into the favorite thing, but it was probably this past weekend was the weekend we got to go to the Gopher women's gymnastics meet
against
Iowa. We could start a chant right now.
Yeah, we could start a chant. We won't do that.
We're trying to attract listeners.
Yes, not push them away.
Yeah. And that was really, really fun. Yeah. So you want to say more about that?
I think the girls were really into it. I think our oldest, she was all about it. She was watching. I think she liked the floor routine a lot. I think it was awesome just to see all of that up close. Like I've never really seen any of that close. So, I think it was a really cool. And it was also for someone with ADHD like me. It's just like, boom, this thing. And then this thing, and then they go, and then they go. And so it was really easy to just like keep going back and forth and watching different things happen.
Yeah, there's no downtime in gymnastics meets. You are literally, they have like little breaks in between. I think they're called turns when they're transitioning between different events. But at that point, they're warming up. So they're starting to like flip and sprint and like do whatever their things. I have a lot of thoughts on it. But I'm going to keep it brief right now. Watching our girls light up at not just the athletes and the event itself, but like the environment was so positive. So like welcoming and supportive. It was awesome. I have a real soft spot for athletics where there's this combo of just like grace and strength, or I've talked about it before. We
Yeah.
talked about figure skating, like athleticism and artistry. Like I just feel like it's so
Yeah.
beautiful to watch and it's like so impressive.
I think for the girls too, to see there are so many different body types in
So
gymnastics,
many.
and like you can be short and small, or you can be tall and really strong, and it works like for almost
Yeah.
anything. Like it's really cool.
That's a great point. So huge shout out to my coworker who
Yeah, that
shared
was
those
great.
tickets with us. It was certainly a memorable moment. Both of our girls said that was their favorite thing
Yep.
from the weekend.
Yep.
But I've got a couple more. I've got to
All
share.
right.
So as we've started to pick up like a little bit of momentum with the podcast
Yep.
and some listeners, I've started getting texts from a few folks who are like, I've worked this into my routine. Like this is now a part
Oh
of
yeah.
my routine. Like I've a colleague who's like, I now try to listen to it on my way home from work on
Jeez.
Wednesday after you guys release. Another friend of mine who's like texts me, she's like, thank you. This is part of my morning routine. It was such a great way to start my day. And so that is so fun to hear, like just that people are engaged, they're
Yep.
learning something.
Yep.
They're really interested in the subject matter, and that just really helps us kind of keep it going too. We find this stuff awesome, and
Yeah.
we're glad to be sharing it with all of you.
Yeah, that's wild to think that someone listening to me is part of their routine. Besides you.
Besides me, I have to listen to it all
Yeah.
the time. Okay, and then my last one will be really short. We'll talk about this a little bit in our top headlines, but we were watching Philly is Unrivaled on Friday night. So Unrivaled, the basketball league, took to Philadelphia for an off-site visit, and Marina Mabrey, the queen of crash outs herself, scored 27 points in a quarter and just was draining threes. Like I was hopping up off the couch. Like
if the ball came out of her hand, it was going in, and it was from all over the place.
From all over. She was shooting logos. She was shooting. It was so insane. One of the most impressive, like individual performances on a basketball court I've seen. And she also is just like, seems like a gem. Like she doesn't take herself too seriously. Yep. She's a fierce competitor, as her crash out jar would suggest. But she mentioned that, so the crash out jar, for those who are unfamiliar, she's got like literally just a jar that she puts money in when
she gets a little rough on the court sometimes.
Maybe like says something inappropriate on the court, or like is a little physical and realizes maybe that wasn't the right thing. Lets her emotions get the best of her, maybe. But she said that all the money she put in the crash out jar, which I think it was an insignificant amount in January, she was going to be donating to a fund here in Minnesota. Amazing. So I thought that was really cool. Favorite thing, Marina Mabrey over the weekend.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll keep watching her for sure. All right.
Top headlines.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. WNBA and league leadership meet amid growing stalemate for CBA agreement ahead of 2026 season. This just happened today. They met for 3 hours. I'm sure we'll get into it, or try to fit it into our deep dive somewhere.
We will talk about it.
All right. Rybakina defeats world number 1 Sabalenka to take the Australian Open title, and I believe second Grand Slam is what I read.
Yes. The Australian Open did not end how anybody thought it was going to. We had like sat here and been like, you could have 3 Americans in the semis, and none of them made it. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Jessica Pegula did play Sabalenka.
Yes.
But she got beat pretty handily. But that was at the expense of Amanda Anisimova. Another American. So anyways, good start to the year for the pro tennis tour.
Lindsey Vonn crashes in final prep run before Olympics, is airlifted off of the mountain.
Yeah, and so far, like the reports have been her status is kind of unknown, but I would assume at this rate you're playing that close to the vest. I would also assume that this is supposed to be her final run.
Actual final run.
Unless she like can't ski.
She's going to try.
She's going to try. Yeah. like
anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
So.
And, steroid shots are helpful.
Amazing. U.S. Women's National Team routs Chile 5-0 with goals from Bethune, Joseph, Sams, Rodman, and Sears.
Yeah, we aren't going to talk too much about this game. They looked in good form. I think they had a quicker start than the Paraguay game the weekend before. You got more caps from new players and first-time goals for Jamise Joseph, Emily Sams. For the U.S. Women's National Team, obviously great to see Trin on the score sheet again too.
Yep. Philadelphia Unrivaled Roadshow sets all-time women's professional basketball attendance record with 21,480 people showing up.
Y'all, this looked lit.
Yeah.
Like, I know I sound silly saying that, but it looked like so much fun. So the almost 21,500 people showing up actually set an all-time attendance record for any sport being played in that arena. The next closest game, y'all, was Michael Jordan's last game as a Chicago Bull against Allen Iverson, like of the Philadelphia 76ers heydays. So that's really cool. You also had a ton of celebrities show up, a lot of NBA players, but like Wanda Sykes, Leslie Jones, you had the
Don Staley was there.
Don Staley, the Kelseys, Kylie and Jason, among many others. It looked like a ton of fun, and we actually left watching it being like, we need to go try to watch Unravel.
Yeah, we were kind of almost like planning a family trip. Like, let's go do this.
Next year, let's go to Miami at least and watch it.
Let's see here. New York Sirens hold on to top spot in PWHL standings heading into the Olympic break.
Yep, Minnesota Frost are 2 points back in second place there.
Boston's
in third.
Third now? Oh, wow.
So. Yeah, so.
All right. U.S. Women's National Team legend Crystal Dunn announces her retirement from professional play.
Oh, Dunny. This wasn't like quite on my radar. It's not surprising, but it's a little like, she had a baby last couple years. I've been seeing articles since this was announced. Like, is she the best like NWSL player to ever play in the league? Like, she is seriously one of the most versatile, one of the best ambassadors for the game. Hats off to you, Crystal Dunn, for your amazing career.
Get some rest. In first ever Women's Football Champions Cup, Arsenal takes home the prize while NWSL champions Gotham FC take third place.
Yeah, so this was new this year, the FIFA Women's Champions Cup. So this is essentially taking the champions from each of the major leagues and having them play against one another. Gotham kind of crashed out a little bit. They lost to Corinthians, the Brazilian champions. But then Corinthians actually went on, they beat Gotham in a scrappy game and then went on to take Arsenal to overtime. Oh, wow. Arsenal had to win that game in overtime. Okay. So
Caitlin Clark to join Sunday Night Basketball broadcast team as special contributor.
Yeah, so she joined the broadcast this past Sunday. So, over this past weekend, ahead of these really critical conversations between the league and the Players Association. And she was expressing like all kinds of confidence that something was going to happen. Kind of interesting. I mean, I get why she's there. To me, I was like a little sort of like, what's the deal here? Yeah. And are we, I don't know.
It was not on my radar at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
U.S. Women's National Team and Chelsea star Alyssa Thompson releases personalized pregame playlist in conjunction with a Spotify and Gen/EA Sports collaboration alongside Travis Hunter of the NFL's Jacksonville Jaguars, Brazilian footballer Endrick, and F1 driver Bianca. You got to do this with the names. Bustamante.
Yeah. This is just cool, right? I think you're seeing like some women's athletes, including Bustamante, right, get into collaboration with some other high profile men's players.
Yep.
You see different brands wanting to pull these players in and just attract potentially a new generation or a new customer base.
Yep.
And I think it's a really clever marketing approach, right?
Yeah. LPGA kicks off season in Florida at the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament of Champions, with Nelly Corda declared the winner after final round was cut short due to cold weather. And I heard the players were saying the course was playable.
Yes, so this was controversial. They cut the tournament short after 54 holes. And it was cold. It's hard for us Minnesotans to sit here and like be
Florida too cold.
be genuine about Florida being too cold. I can understand for the sport itself and just like the impact to the quality of play, the course potentially not being playable. But a lot of players who were maybe not quite in the lead at the time were like, hey, I could have used the last 18 holes or whatever, 9 holes to win.
Yeah.
And they didn't get that opportunity. I will add there was a $2.1 million purse of like for this tournament.
Wow. Okay.
And so when you think about, funding and accessibility, LPGA is doing well in that regard. It's nowhere near comparable to the PGA Tour. But the winner takes home about $325,000, and then it just gets distributed down the line from there.
Overtime Sports announces partnership with NBA and WNBA to gear content clips towards younger audience.
Yeah, so I think this goes in line with that Spotify and EA Sports one, right? They're just, you're seeing these plays to try to connect with the Gen Z audience at this point in time, which is going to probably require TikTok and content clips and that sort of thing.
Doing funny dances and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And our final headline, Ted Lasso to return to Apple TV this summer, coaching a women's football club with cast favorites back in action.
Believe. Yeah, so you'll have all the regulars back in action, but we're flipping to coach some like second tier women's league.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I love that show.
All right. Deep dive time. Back to the WNBA CBA negotiations. For the people listening to the audio, we're going to try to explain some numbers at some point. You're going to have to maybe get a pad of paper and a pen. It's a lot.
Yeah, I would recommend.
You spent a lot of time yesterday, like mathing. I just would look over and you'd be looking up like, huh.
Alex can attest that I had I had just scrap paper, like old call sheets out, like trying to math out how we could explain this in a way that makes sense.
Yep.
So I think I went deep into what is the sticking point as far as where their agreements are at, things like that. We're going to get into it. I am going to start I want to reground our listeners in some of the acronyms, right? We're going to throw a couple of them around. There's also some like kind of euphemisms for those acronyms. Yep. So I just want to start there. So WNBA, Women's National Basketball Association. So that's the main league here in the United States that women's basketball players will play in. We will also refer to them as the league.
Yep.
And then the WNBPA is the Women's National Basketball Players Association.
PA for short, maybe.
PA for short, or the union.
Yeah.
Right. We might call them the union. You also hear us refer to the CBA. That is meant to refer to collective bargaining agreement. Not the Continental Basketball Association, no. Which was pointed out to us by one of our older listeners who was like, I still remember when that was a thing. And that predates the NBA. So we just wanted to put that all on the table, make sure we're all speaking the same language. But essentially what my goal is here in this segment, and Alex has, got some commentary and questions he's going to interject as well, is just to really set the table. Like, what's the backstory here? Why did they have this meeting? At the time of this recording, basically they had this big meeting between the Players Association and the league. Mm-hmm. You may read about it in the news or hear some things about it. So we're going to ground in that. We're going to ground in the sticking points. We're going to talk a little bit about like the shots fired across the bow between the two sides. And then we're going to talk about like, how do we think this will end? Like, where do we think this is going to end up? Right. So without further ado, I do actually recommend, if you're a nerdy numbers person, like I am, like grab a piece of paper, a pencil. It's very hard to kind of visualize and compare some of these things if you're not looking at it.
Yep.
So the backstory. The Players Association opted out of the then current CBA in October of 2024. So that's, a little over a year and a half ago now, right? We could kind of call it that. This CBA was put into effect in January of 2020, and it was supposed to run until 2027. There was an opt-out clause, so it wasn't like this was, they chose it randomly. It was kind of, they decided like, this is what we want to do. Basically, the players are looking to capitalize on the explosive growth that the league has seen over the last, frankly, really the last 3 years. But prior to that, as I was doing my research, is in 2019, the league generated top line revenues of, as best we can tell, of around 100 million. And there was an expectation that this was going to continue to explode. Now, COVID got completely in the way of that, like it did for everything else. So they kind of had to start back over. The 2020 season was played in a bubble, like all that kind of stuff, right? But then we saw Caitlin Clark coming up through the college game, right? And then we sort of saw this resurgence, right? Like the W was gaining momentum on its own, but really we can't deny the Caitlin Clark effect. And what we saw was, as the league has sort of absorbed some of that momentum, right? We are seeing expansion of the league. So expansion by adding teams. So in 2025, we added the Golden State Valkyries. In 2026, we're due to add the Toronto Tempo and the Portland Fire. And by 2030, we're supposed to be seeing teams in Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia.
Oh, there you go.
So it's a great test run there for Unrivaled to show. So we're looking at going from 12 teams to 18 teams in 5 years. That's a lot. In addition to this, we're also seeing expansion fees. So the fees that those folks who want to kind of create that franchise have to pay into the league go from 50 million to 250 million. So the teams that you're seeing right now come into the league are having to, the owners are having to pay 250 million to the league in order to join the league. And that was just 50 million 2 years ago.
And that's not money that the players would ever see.
No. So we'll talk about that. And that's actually a major point of sticking, like stickiness in their calculations for the valuation. We also see that franchise valuations are averaging around 180% increases over the last 3 seasons. So if you take 12 teams, or maybe you add in the Golden State Valkyries, which actually they've had a phenomenal story as a first year team last year. But 180% increase in valuation, it's not insignificant.
And I have my notes here. I don't want to give away numbers, but I think the salary cap increases are like 3% a year. And so you got these team owners making money on their asset while they're not increasing salaries. The salaries aren't increasing at even 10%. Like not even like, I mean, you get what I'm saying here, right? Like
I do.
They are making money on their asset while the liquid money for the players is going almost nowhere.
So in my attempts to like understand this and graph this out, right? And even in the model that they constructed under the old CBA, which they're not operating under, they're kind of in the status quo period. I'll talk about that in just a second. League growth was compounded. The targets were compounded. The expectation is that you're compounding that growth, right? So you're adding 20% every year. Well, that starts to look like an exponential curve. It's not a flat line, right? League player salaries are fixed at 3% increase year on year. So they're not seeing remotely any of that growth. So the original, just backing up a little bit for that, finishing out the backstory here, the original deadline for the new agreement was October of 2025. So they actually gave themselves 12 months to figure out a path forward. October 2025 approached. They extended to the end of November 30th of 2025. They got to the end of November 30th of 2025. They pushed it out to the now kind of famous in the WNBA circles, January 9th 2026 date, which has come and gone. They did not agree to an extension at that time. So while the previous two was like, hey, we're just going to extend, we're going to come back and negotiate in between these periods. They've been sending proposals back, and well, some proposals have been sent back and forth. Some haven't been responded to. They now are operating under a state of status quo. So this allows league business to continue under the current CBA. But what I'm finding is that is really kind of in like name only. So a lot of league business right now is on hold. The two sides agreed to a moratorium on free agency, which was supposed to start mid-January. That is very problematic because right now you have all but two veteran players. So all but two players who are not on rookie contracts, basically, who need to be re-signed to teams. That is a lot of players.
I in my brain, I think status quo is generous. I think you could call it a soft lockout.
Yeah.
Like, you can't construct teams. You can't sign your players. You can't probably even talk to free agents at all. Like, other teams may want to sign these free agents if they're not like restricted or whatever, but it's kind of a soft lockout.
Yeah. There's a whole, I mean, they're delaying the expansion drafts right now for Toronto and Portland should have happened by now. So when that happens, right, the teams are all have players who are available for drafting from their current teams to be grabbed by these expansion teams, right? And so the college draft also, it typically is going to be held right after the NCCA tournament finishes, so in early mid-April. That is kind of fast approaching. We have about 100 days left until the season is supposed to start, and they've got to re-sign all these free agents. They've got to do these expansion drafts. They've got to do the college draft. And to your point, if I'm a general manager or a coach or whatever looking at this, I'm like, I cannot construct a competitive team. I don't know who I have on my team.
It kind of needs to be figured out before the college season is over so that you can sign free agents, have an expansion draft, and then have your college draft.
I mean,
it's not fair to like the expansion teams not be able to be a part of the college draft if they're not able to sign and have other players.
It needs to be figured out. Like, my guess, again, I'm starting to get into my predictions, but my guess is that if we don't have something going forward by mid-March, right, that we're going to have delays to the start of the season. I just don't think you can feasibly do all of those things well, or even half well. At time. So another kind of piece to consider. So you might be wondering, right? Like, back up. We're talking about like there's tension and like and so like why are they not coming to an agreement? The union last sent a proposal over to the league in mid-December. They had sent one over at the end of November before that extension deadline, and the league responded to that proposal and said that the players were off base, right? And then the players put forward another proposal in mid-December, and the league has not responded to that proposal.
I think I saw they didn't think it was worthy of responding to. Essentially was the rumor, I think.
Yes. League sources who aren't named, but have said that it's too similar to the proposal they submitted in November. And it is not, what was the exact word? They're not being reasonable with their asks, which the Players Association has taken a shade. And don't really appreciate that. The main sticking point when the league did respond to their November proposal was, if we actually went forward with what you're proposing, we would end up operating over the time span of this agreement at a $700 million loss. And I remember reading that and I'm like, what the heck? And so essentially we mentioned this a little bit before, but that is because the Players Association is looking at these expansion fees that we mentioned, the $250K per team. coming in, and they are considering that revenue to the league.
Yeah.
I read that other leagues also don't consider that revenue to the league. What ends up happening with that money is that money gets distributed to the existing clubs to compensate them for their decreased share of revenue because you have more teams. But
is it really decreased?
Well, that's what we don't know, right?
Yeah.
Because if you have this many teams joining in this short of span, and you're also claiming that the league isn't generating revenue anyway, like it feels a little weird.
A little off.
So the players also, just to kind of add one more thing to this, the players did authorize a strike. This was a historic vote. They had 98 or 93% participation from the players in this vote, which is insane.
Really high.
And then 98% of those 93%, that 93% said, yes, we authorized the union to use a strike as a form of leverage. Now, obviously, the league could also do a lockout.
Yep.
That, as we've discussed it kind of offline, doesn't seem to make a lot of sense for the league.
No.
As you just said, like, we're kind of in a soft lockout anyway. Like, they can't really do a ton of their business. They're doing what they can, like releasing the schedule.
Yeah.
But I think that's important to note, because I do think, based on initial reporting from the conversation today, it is looking more and more likely that the players might strike.
We might get there.
So are we ready for some numbers?
You gave them to me already, but I might rewrite them just so that I can kind of
you're gonna
figure out what's going on here.
We could actually play this as like a quiz if you wanted to, and play along online or on the in your earbuds. So right now, the major sticking point between the two sides is revenue sharing. Alex alluded to a little bit of this before, right? Kind of the proportionality of salary cap to the revenue that the league may or may not be generating. But I wanted to make sure that we had some of the basic statistics so we could understand. So the current CBA, which is now, they're in status quo, they're not technically operating under that CBA, but the old one, or the one that we're kind of basing our baseline off of for this conversation, the minimum salary, guess what the minimum salary, and you keep
I'm looking at it.
Okay, yeah.
I've got the numbers. I know.
He's got the numbers. So the minimum salary right now in the WNBA is anywhere between 66 and 79K. And this is based off of your years in the league. Yep. So 0 to 2 years, it's about 66 to 68K. And then 3 to 5 or whatever, it goes up from there. The average salary, so minimum, right? We're in like the mid 60s to high 70s. The average salary, you may be wondering, what would that be? Well, it's about $110,000 to $120,000. Not like that far away from the minimum, but like these, and you look at these and you're like, oh, that sounds nice, like 6 figures, whatever.
Try living in New York on 6 figures like that.
And then you also do, like, they're comparing, rightly or wrongly, to their male counterparts. Where the minimum salary, y'all, in the NBA is like $3.5 million. That's the minimum.
Yeah. Yikes.
Yeah. Yikes. Now you can throw all the arguments you want at me about how the NBA generates revenue. I got it. I get it. Okay. We can talk about that at a different time. Maximum salary, current CBA. Any guesses? No. $250K.
Just barely above what Unrivaled pays on average.
Just barely above what Unrivaled pays on average. As we mentioned before, there's a fixed 3% salary cap increase year over year. So every year, all the teams get another 3% added onto that budget. Well, what that does is, we've talked about this with Trinity Rodman and the NWSL, like, it's very hard with a 3% increase to satisfy your player combination. Like, how do you even keep the same slate of players, right, and pay them appropriately?
I mean, if anyone's worked in management at a normal job, you get that 3% pool, and you're like, what do I do with this? How do I keep my players?
Are
right?
You speaking from experience?
Yes, maybe a little bit.
So, and then the other thing to note with that is, within that agreement, the revenue sharing rules, which is what gets very complicated, is based off of an expected 20% target growth year on year.
Yep.
So if you do the math, because I did, on what the percentage of salary cap to the expected revenue generated, this is just top line, this is before expenses, just to be clear, the percentage of salary relative to revenue goes down by about a percentage point every single year. Even if they meet those revenue growth goals, and then that salary is staying fixed at 3%.
Yep.
It also starts out at 9% of revenues. So it's going down from 9% of revenues. I think if you extrapolate this out 5 years or something like that, it ends up being about 5.6% of revenue for salary. So you can see why they are upset. Okay, so let's talk about the league's proposal. So the league last provided a proposal, I believe, around the November extension deadline. They are proposing a minimum salary of $220,000. And if you recall from what we just read, that is
almost the max
on the current CBA. You're like, okay, we're moving in the right direction. Average salary, $530,000 with progressive increase year over year. Max salary, $1 million, maybe up to 1.3, depending on like your marketability and things like that. But progressive increase to $2 million over the 6-year term that they're offering, with a salary cap of $5 million.
Everything's kind of like times 5 almost.
Basically, yeah. They're also offering anywhere from 50 to 70% of revenue after expenses. So they are talking about revenue sharing after expenses. It took me so long to figure out how I could equate this to what the Players Association is asking for. So the way that I'm going to say this right now is that this is essentially 15% of gross revenue, according to Front Office Sports, an article that I read there. So keep that in mind. We're going to say 15%.
Yep.
There's also a whole slew of things that have to go right in order for this revenue share to even kick in.
Yep.
So, and I'm not going to go into that level of detail today. Players Association proposal moving forward, they are asking for an average salary. So average from the league was $530, progressively increasing. The Players Union is asking for an average salary of $800,000.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so we went from current CBA of like 120K to 800. And the league is at 530.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're like, okay, Players Union, what are we talking about?
Yeah, that's a little
They're also asking for a salary cap of $10.5 million. This is actually down from 12.5 in one of their original. Double the proposed. And they are asking for the salary cap to be determined based on the revenues generated. So this is also done in the NBA. They call it basketball related earnings. This is done in the NFL. This is done in the NHL. In all of those sports, I don't have exact figures for all of the different leagues, but I know the NBA is roughly a 50-50 split there,
with the players.
Right? The Players Union is asking for 30%. So they're not jumping all the way to what the NBA is doing. I want to be doing that, but they're asking for 30%. So if you remember, we tried to get as best we could the apples to apples. The league is offering 15. The players are asking for 30%. What I realized in reading a lot about this is that the sticking point is about the revenue sharing. But the real sticking point is that no one actually knows what revenue the WNBA is generating. So every source I went and looked at, it was like our best estimates based on like XYZ sources, like not the league. The league does not publicly publish that information. Is this 100 million in 2019, 200 million in 2023, things like that. Where I think this is really falling down is the players are asking for that 30%, but they're also asking for salary caps to be tied
To the
to
revenue.
revenues. And I think that that is actually where the league is saying we can't do
show
that.
you the books.
And it begs the question, like, why? So that then you start to think through it and you're like, okay, the WNBA is subsidized by the NBA.
Yeah.
It has been widely believed that the WNBA has never been profitable.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
It generates revenue, but its expenses are greater than its revenue.
Yep.
All of this makes you wonder, as the growth has literally exploded. We just talked about some of those numbers there. Is this a little bit protective of the league to say, hey,
we'll give you more than you're asking for,
but we don't want to open our books
we're not
up.
opening the books. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's, that makes me feel ick. Like
it does. Like, it does. Right.
It feels like there's something shady going on there. It feels like they're trying to pull one over, or maybe because the NBA subsidizes it, that the NBA has some sort of weird mechanism where some of their expenses are subsidized by the WNBA somehow, or I don't know. Like,
well, I think it's not even that. It's like the NBA could cover the cost of the W. Like, it's like pennies in their pocket, right? The couch cushion change. It's like the NBA is multiple billions of dollars that it's generating. So it's unfortunate, but it does, to me, like the aha moment really was, oh, you're going to concede and you're actually going to kind of, I mean, frankly, we were looking at the minimums and averages and things like that. And we were like, players, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, this seems like a great deal for you. But what you realize that sticking point is it's not really about those numbers.
Yep.
It's about the fact that they want to take advantage of proportional compensation for the growth that they are directly generating.
Yeah.
Like, let's be clear. The league has a lot of resources, marketing, the broadcast deals, facilities, things like that. But people aren't showing up because of the W on the court. They're showing up because they want to watch Paige Beckers and Nafisa Collier and Asia Wilson, right? Like, that's what people are, those are the jerseys they're wearing.
I think when we were talking about this the other night, the thing that made it kind of click for me is this idea of net versus gross. Like they talk about in Hollywood, if you take your percentage of your salary based on the net, there's some fancy book work that they can do to show that the movie never made any money net wise. Like, whereas if you take it on the gross, no matter what the expenses were, you get a piece of it based on the overall money that it made.
Right. Yeah. And so that's the other piece that's like not clear too, with the books being opaque, essentially. Not only do we not know how much revenue the league is actually generating, we have no idea on expenses, right?
Yep.
So let's just move really quick to just some leverage tactics that we've seen on both sides. The league, we mentioned this, did release the 2026 season schedule. We have both had Lynx season ticket reps call both of us like ad nauseum, and I'm kind of like,
there's
you can't tell me that well, and you can't tell me there's going to be a season. So like, I'm like unsure what's going on here right now. But they released this schedule. There are some who speculate that the league did this to try and force the union's hands. I think the assumption is that the league can come back and say, well, there was a schedule and now you're the reason that we're not playing it. And I don't think anybody's actually buying that. We have had players like Natasha Cloud of the New York Liberty. She's playing on the Phantom right now, the Ghost Gang from Unrivaled, saying in press conferences and on podcasts, like, we don't need the league. Like, we'll just keep playing. Like, we'll find ways to play. And I've actually read at first when we talked about this a couple episodes ago, and we were kind of like, girl, like, tone it down a little bit. But come to find out, that actually, there's a lot of players who share that sentiment. And I was reading about this concept of player hubs that are now getting established. So there are different universities,
Mm,
the Bay Club in the Bay Area, which is like a fitness
yep.
center. There's other kind of sports science fitness labs or whatever on the East Coast that are opening their doors to players to
Yeah.
say, "Hey, come in, work out." And the article I was reading was saying like a strike is it's lovely when the players agree to a strike in principle.
Yep.
It's a very different thing to do it in practice.
Yeah.
And these player hubs popping up now show that the players actually are capable of
Yeah.
executing it in
Yeah.
reality.
I think it's interesting with Unrivaled. For some of the bigger name players that are playing there, they could potentially, if they keep finding a way to play via Unrivaled, it's like a little bit of a strike fund, and it's like I'm not worried about getting paid from the W if I can keep doing this year round or
Yeah.
3/4 of the year, whatever it is.
And it's like highly competitive. I mean, you're playing again, we've talked about this, but like you're playing against the best
Yeah.
competition there is to offer. Um, it's not like you're playing in some, summer league
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yep.
Where you can't find good competition to play alongside. So, I just want to wrap this segment up. We've mentioned today that the players union and the league met in New York City. They met in person for the first time since October,
Yep.
I believe. The meeting lasted 3 hours.
The league didn't even bring a proposal.
The league the league didn't bring a proposal, and when Players Association President Nneka Agumuke was leaving, she was asked for comment. She declined
Yeah.
to comment. We have no other reporting outside of that right now, but I have to assume there was no deal made. Maybe it's like we've got to go back and think about it, but I think the league showing up with no proposal reinforces to
Yeah.
the union like they're not taking us seriously. And I kind of wonder if we're going to hear about the strike.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
soon.
I think the league does kind of have the leverage currently. I think they are, by not showing up with a proposal, they kind of said, this is what it is. So you guys figure out what you need to do. And like that can swing very quickly if they do decide to strike. But
Yeah, I see that, but I also think the player, so what happens if a strike occurs, right? The league right now had to release that schedule because they have to start working out venue,
yep.
timing, and things like that, and their broadcast partners.
Yep.
They just signed like a $2.2 billion broadcast deal that's supposed to last like a number of years.
Yep.
But can you imagine if the first year that you're doing that, you're having to like pull back on
Yeah. That doesn't look
air?
good.
Yeah. So, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I actually think they are, from a business perspective, are in a bit of a tricky position. And the more that what's interesting now, what really I really think is going to be fascinating is how do the players message what's happening?
Yeah.
Because if they can win popular support,
Yep.
fans will I mean, we just saw Unrivaled, like
Yeah.
fans will travel with them. They want to see these players play. But it'll be interesting to see like how that shakes out. I don't know. I think the league is, I think they're messing up.
I swing back and forth day to day.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So that's all we're going to get into for tonight. If you want to talk to me ever about cumulative growth targets and cumulative revenue and how that turns into overages and underages and things like that, I am happy to entertain you.
I was just like glazing over.
I know more than I need to know about how the revenue sharing works in the WNBA. But with that, I think we're going to move into our next segment.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a NCAA roundup we're going to try and do here, and we'll try to swing through these pretty quickly. First up, basketball. We have our standings. I'm going to throw these standings out there. UConn is number 1, UCLA number 2, South Carolina 3, Texas 4, Vanderbilt 5, LSU 6, Louisville 7, Iowa 8, Michigan 9, and Oklahoma 10. I think these might have shifted a tiny bit. These were taken the other day. So if I got those a little bit off, that's from when you're listening to this. So Storyline number one that I wanted to bring up. I mean, this is the storyline every year. UConn seems unbeatable once again.
They like truly look. So there's been years where UConn is going undefeated or like they have an undefeated record, but they show some like chinks in the armor. Yep. They played a really big game against number 15 Tennessee. They were number 15 when they played on Sunday, and I didn't get to watch it, but I heard it was close, and then it was not. They look untouchable.
Yeah, it was funny. I had a note here that there was a game last week against Xavier where Azzi Fudd had a off game, and Gino sounded a little bit worried about her. I don't know if it was like sickness, mental issues, whatever it was. But even so, she had an off night, 6 points, and they were on a short bench with some injuries. They still beat Xavier by 58 points. So even their bench is stacked.
Like, I mean, always is. Yeah. It was whenever you watch them like in the tournament at the end of the year, like pull someone off the bench and you're like, oh, the quality is going to, nope. It's not what happens. There. Like Gino's recruiting machine is unreal. Yeah, it's
ridiculous. The second storyline up here is that the SEC and the Big Ten are dominating the standings. So 10 of the top 25 teams currently are the SEC or the Big Ten. 10 of the top 25 are SEC, 7 of the top 25 are Big Ten. We have the UConn is Big East, obviously, but then you've got UCLA, Big Ten, 4 SEC teams, Louisville's ACC, and then back to 2 Big Ten teams in Iowa and Michigan. And then SEC to round out the top 10. So it's essentially all SEC. It's all Big Ten. Those are where the big powerhouse players are this year.
Yeah, and I feel like that's probably been the case for a while. Yeah. If, outside of UConn.
Yep.
I think it's hard for teams outside of those 2 conferences to break in. Maybe you see the ACC creep in there every once in a while. I know Florida State went on a really good run last year in the tournament, but it's not surprising. I think the tournament is gonna be fire.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to hockey. We'll quick go through the standings here. We have number 1, Wisconsin.
Go Badgers.
Ohio State, number 2. Minnesota at 3. Penn State at 4. Northwestern at 5. UConn at 6. Quinnipiac at 7. Princeton at 8. Yale at 9. And Minnesota Duluth at 10.
Nice.
Storyline 1 here is the Olympic shadow is upon us.
It's coming.
Wisconsin and Minnesota are missing some of their key players. Yes. So I think the big thing is that's going to test the depth of these teams or give some teams that are going to play them the ability to maybe steal some ranking from having some of your players out.
Yeah. Oddly enough, I think we saw a little bit of that play out actually this past weekend, right? The Gophers played the Badgers. It was in our What to Watch in last episode. The Badgers were here in Minnesota, and the Gophers beat them in overtime on Friday night. And we were as we were watching it, we were talking about how I wonder if the Badgers have 6 players on Team USA that are gone. So you can imagine what that happens with line shuffling in college. It's not like you have reserve players you can go grab from. And so that'll be interesting to watch. The Badgers did turn around and route the Gophers the next day. But
so one of the examples I have here is that I believe it's this weekend. Wisconsin plays number 2 Ohio State, so big game there. And so you could kind of see a swapping of rankings if Ohio State's able to take both of those games.
Yeah, for sure.
Or you see something like Wisconsin playing Minnesota State, which I would still expect Wisconsin to win, but anything could happen, and you could see someone like Minnesota State kind of jumping up the rankings by pulling that out.
Yeah. Anything can happen.
Storyline number 2 I have here. This is a little bit under the radar. For the past few years, they've been good, but they seem to kind of escape like the celebrity or whatever you want to call it. National spotlight. The Penn State Nittany Lions have found themselves in 4th place in the rankings. I think they would tell you it's where they belong. They've been here for the past few years. Before that, it really was not their spot to be this high up in the rankings. And I was just actually surprised when I saw that they were the number 14. We talk about Minnesota, Wisconsin, Ohio State, and that's where we kind of always stop.
Yeah, well, it's weird because too, I think our teams play in the WCHA
Yep.
and Penn State's not in that. I don't think they are. Now, I'm like trying to think through the
Yeah, I
graphic.
know.
They're not. So
I'm not
like
sure they
we
are.
like lose track of them. I'm sure they might play with like the Ivies or something like
Yeah.
that. Um so that is really interesting because I would have never
Yeah.
never would have crossed my mind.
They have
I didn't even know they had a hockey
yeah,
team.
they
I'm
have
gonna be honest.
well, they have apparently a really good defense, led by alternate captain Kendall Butts. She has 21 assists and
Whoa.
38 block shots.
Holy moly.
And then they have the main goaltender, Katie Desaw, with a 22-0 record, a goals against average of 1.2, and a save percentage of .934.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So they are stacked defense wise.
All right. Cool.
All right. We are going to move on to gymnastics. This is going to be a little bit of a learning situation I have here for both of us since
I need to learn.
Yes, we need to learn more about gymnastics. We have the standings: Oklahoma, LSU, Alabama, Florida, UCLA, Arkansas, Missouri, Georgia, Stanford, and Michigan.
Okay.
I mean, we can talk a little bit about what we saw this past weekend. We really covered it a lot in our kind of opening segment there, but made me want to get a little bit more into trying to search out some more of these games or these meets, and I'm just going to stay a little bit more attached to this.
Yeah, I mean, I think as I was looking at this, kind of prepping for this segment, I was like, okay, now I want to go watch some of these. Like, no shade to the Gophers, but they're not on this top 10 list, right?
I think they're 17th right now.
Yeah, and Iowa wasn't either. So now I'm kind of like, I want to go. Like, can I find an Oklahoma meet to watch? They have 6 titles in the last 11 seasons. I was reading an article about how they're like an undisputed dynasty in women's college gymnastics. LSU, Alabama, like you mentioned, Florida was like a dark horse runner in some preseason prediction thing, or not dark horse runner, but like somebody who is going to contend for the top. Yeah, I think it's really it's cool to start to like delve into a new sport and get more acclimated with it a little bit more, understand the scoring. I think you're going to talk a little bit about that here in a second. I do know next weekend the Gophers are hosting UCLA, where Jordan Childs competes for, and we highlighted her last week. She scored a perfect 10 on a beam routine, and she is very close, y'all, to getting her bronze medal reinstated from Paris Olympics. Yeah. So it's like in an appeals court right now. She should probably win that. She deserves it.
Yeah, she does. So this is a new thing to me. The 198 club, scoring a 198 in team competition is like this benchmark.
Okay. So that sounds very hard. Is that hard?
Well, I think the Gophers this last weekend got to like 197 and a 8th or something like that.
Okay,
Right.
So it'd be hard.
Yeah, it's hard. There's only currently 4 teams that have hit that this year.
Oh.
So you have Oklahoma and LSU were the only ones until this past weekend. And then we had the Florida Gators and UCLA join.
Okay. All right.
So,
I'll watch for that.
The interesting thing here is that they are changing how they score the teams this year. And so let me make sure I got my numbers right here. So you go from a 6 meet average to a 9 meet average. It requires a max of 5 home and a minimum of 5 away scores, dropping the top and bottom scores from that set. And so what they're trying to do here, and I don't know if I said that all exactly right, but what they're trying to do is encourage consistency over the whole season, whereas before it was encouraging more of a later season peak. And so what they're trying to do is get teams to stay at a high level for the entire season instead of kind of using it as a ramp up.
Interesting. And I wonder if that also affects like what we saw in the meet, right? You have your 6 top competitors in that event go, but you've got, you've got other people who can do those events. We even saw alternates go in the kind of whatever slush time after the counted scores went.
And so you had this ability to kind of throw away some of your more of your bad scores. And now you have less of that ability. You need to hold on to all of that performance for as long as you possibly can.
Interesting.
And then I think the individual scoring will stay the same. This is just for the teams.
Okay. You kind of wonder. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm yawning. You kind of wonder too, it'd be interesting to look into, like, is the NCAA trying to push this more from a broadcast perspective? Because to me, that also sounds like they're trying to make it more fun to
exciting to watch.
watch
Yeah.
all year, all
Yep.
season long, right? I think we see a lot of momentum pick up in these NCAA sports seasons as you reach tournament time.
Yep.
The basketball is a perfect example, right? And volleyball, etc. But I wonder if they're trying to push that out to make it kind of a more interesting watch earlier throughout the season.
A weird throwback, but it feels kind of like how we used to do CrossFit a lot, and the guy who did the games there was kind of saying you want it to be exciting no matter whether you're watching a regional or the championship. You want it to always be exciting. So I think that kind of is what they're going for here.
Totally.
I think that was all of our NCAA roundup. We are moving on to what to watch.
Yeah.
And we have a massive, massive amount of things to watch here.
Well, here's the deal, y'all. The Olympics start this week. So they actually kick off the day that this podcast gets released. There's some events that start on Wednesday, February 4th. Yes.
Yep.
So we wanted to bring to you, when do the athletes we've talked about here compete over the next 2 weeks? Because I know I for one, I'm like, okay, like we do this event this time, and then like now we do figure skating, but that's like a week away. And like I don't really understand. So I can run us through the Olympics here quick. So we're gonna go through this real fast. We're actually gonna post this. We'll post this to our social media this week too. So if you need a refresher, you can go check it out there. So starting at the top, Madison Chalk and Evan Bates. They are a ice dance duo. 5-time defending U.S. champions, won the last 3 world champions, but they have yet to win Olympic gold.
All right.
Ice dance competition starts on February 9th. So mark your calendars if you are into ice dance. Jessie Diggins, Minnesota native, cross-country skier, 4th and final Olympics. She won the silver and bronze in Beijing. I think she's well known as one of the best cross-country skiers in the world. Those races start Saturday, February 7th. So that is coming up here. So something to watch out for. Team USA drops the puck for the first time for these Olympic Games against Czechia on Thursday, February 5th. So tomorrow, if you're listening to that, to us today, looking to get back to gold. So they lost to Team Canada in 2022. Top PWHL draft prospects on display from some of the teams that we just talked about. Caroline Harvey, Abby Murphy, Layla Edwards, and Tessa Janicki are all expected to go actually 1, 2, 3, 4 in the PWHL draft, playing for Team USA. Siobhan, Chelsea Forgan, and Sophia Kirby are in the doubles luge.
Ooh.
So that is starting on February 11th. We've got figure skating, Amber Glenn and Alyssa Liu. February 17th is when the singles figure skating competition begins for the women. We've got Kaylee Humphreys and Elena Myers Taylor on the bobsled. They not together, separately. That's on February 15th. Just a couple of 40-year-old working moms.
The note literally says just a couple of 40-year-old working moms.
Just a couple of 40-year-old working moms who are out there just bobsledding. Erin Jackson, 500-meter speed skating. She's the defending gold medalist. She's the first Black American woman to win speed skating gold. She will race to defend her title on February 15th. Right. So two February 15th right there, bobsled, speed skating. Chloe Kim, snowboarding, looking to win her 3rd consecutive gold on the half pipe.
Hopefully all healed from that shoulder injury.
Healed. Yes. She did something aggressive to her shoulder recently and is supposed to be competing. So we'll see how that goes. February 11th and 12th for the half pipe competition. There are other snowboard events. We're just highlighting that one here. Mystique Row, skeleton. So just a reminder, bobsled's like the big bullety one that you like sit down in. Luge is like you're laying back on your back.
Is skeleton like
skeleton
luge,
is like
but
you're
you
facing
go forward
and you're laying on your stomach.
Frightening.
Yeah. So if you want to watch that, you can watch it on February 13th. Great pre-Valentine's Day viewing. Mystique earned the silver medal at the 2025 World Championships and looks to be in really good form to potentially take gold. And then Michaela Schifrin, Lindsey Vonn, we've talked ad nauseum about these two alpine skiing greats. This competition does start over the weekend on February 8th. And Schifrin is looking for redemption after crashing out and missing the podium in all 6 of her events in Beijing after having won gold medals in world championships all before that. And then Vonn obviously back for one final run. Remains to be seen.
I bet she was hoping for that second weekend.
What her, right. What her status will be, but I know we'll be watching. That's pretty historic to see her back on the hill. And then just rounding us out, Corinne Stoddard, short track speed skating. So Erin Jackson in the 500 meters is like a bigger loop, like think around like an entire ice hockey rink, if you will. It's not quite the same. Short track is like zoom, zoom, like quick, like it's shorter laps. But they race the same distances. So it's different. It's just like a different
energy expenditure type thing.
So that starts on February 7th. So we had no rhyme or reason for how we listed these out. They're not like chunked by week, so we didn't make that easy for you. But
I think we're gonna try and maybe like a medal count too.
We will roll a medal count, and we'll have an update in our next episode of like where we're at, where you can watch, what we've enjoyed watching, all that good stuff. So looking forward to the Olympics. Honestly, athletic greatness at its finest, and like we've talked about before, just in sports that like don't usually get center stage too. So looking forward to that.
All right. I think we've actually talked about a few of these, but we'll round this out with some NCAA and Unrivaled. NCAA basketball this weekend, the game to watch, game of the week. Number 2, UCLA at number 8, Michigan. Saturday, February 8th at 2 p.m. on Fox.
Nice.
I mean, so UCLA is 11-0 in the conference, 21-1 all around. I saw that. Michigan is 10-1 in the conference and 19-3 all around. This is just a massive matchup in the
huge
the
Big Ten matchup.
So, tune in for that one. That's going to be they're going to gut that one out. Again, we talked about number 2 Ohio State at number 1 University of Wisconsin for hockey.
Go Badgers.
So, for some context, before their earlier meeting, Wisconsin met the Buckeyes in the 2025 championship.
Okay.
The Badgers brought home the trophy in a 4-3 overtime win. They were trailing 3-2 in the final period of regulations, and Kirsten Sims tied things up with a penalty shot with 18.9 seconds to go.
Wow.
And then went on to score the game winner in overtime.
Yeah, I was reading about her. She's supposedly very good.
Yes. So Wisconsin won both games earlier this season, 2-1 and 6-1. I mean, this is going to be a chance for Ohio State, while Wisconsin's down some players, to potentially swap rankings with Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So
I would not love to see it, but maybe.
All right. And we did talk about this gymnastics, a little bit of our bias showing here. Jordan Childs is going to be in town with UCLA taking on the Golden Gophers.
Yeah. We might have to gate crash that.
Yeah, I know. Too bad our tickets weren't for this weekend.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we wouldn't have.
Yeah, we wouldn't have gotten those
tickets.
All right, and we'll round it out with Unrivaled Saturday night. So we have a grudge match as the Rose take on the Vinyl, rematch of last year's championship. Saw the Rose come out on top. They're both 5 and 6. Rose is 5, Vinyl is 6. So they're both wanting to claw back up the rankings. So it's going to be a good game. Yeah,
we're getting down to the wire in Unrivaled. I think they've got this weekend, and then I think actually the following weekend.
Next Wednesday starts the one-on-one.
The one-on-one tournament starts, which that is going to be a whole other wrinkle to this thing. More prize money on the line.
Yep.
All that kind of stuff. So looking forward to that.
The second game that night is the number 1 Miss taking on the number 3 Phantom. They're both playing great right now. I think the Phantom is a half game back because the Miss played tonight, I think.
Yeah, well, once we're done recording, we'll go see how
see what happened. And that's all I got for what to watch this week.
All right.
I think we're going to go on to winners and losers. Losers first.
Close it out. Losers first, so we end on
a high note.
On a high note. I'm trying not to just really harp on my frustration with what's going on with the W, but I'm gonna pivot a little bit. I don't think it's a loser necessarily, but I was sad to hear about Vaughn's crash.
Oh yeah.
Just like knowing her story, like if you have an opportunity to go like check that out a little bit more, seeing that she fought her way back from a really gruesome knee injury,
Yeah.
to come back and compete and like be winning at this stage in her career, and to like see that, like I hope that it turns into a good news story. But I know that was a bummer to hear, especially as we've kind of like hyped that
her up,
up
yeah.
a bunch. So that's gonna be my loser for today, so I don't rag on the WNBA too much.
My losers are the LPGA tourney organizers. I missed it in your headlines when you sent it over, and so when I was looking for something, I was like, "Oh, this is insane!" Like, it seems that a lot of the players were upset. Sounds like it might have been playable. You don't want to see a weekend like that cut short.
No, and it seems it's also like a bummer of a way to start their season. That was their first tournament of the LPGA tour, so it.
As the winner, you're like, yay, but also you're kind of like, oh, no one likes me right now.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know enough about. That's another one where like we've got to get to know the athletes a little bit more to like know if Nelly Korda is kind of one of those people that's like, ooh, I don't think this was really fair, or if she's like, I get the money, I got this, I did it. So
my winner was Rybakina for winning
Australian
Open in a second Grand Slam.
That's huge, and I think like an outcome no one expected. Like I think
kind of felt like that.
So good for her. My winner is, I like can't get over that game Marina Mayberry's quarter.
Oh yeah, that was great.
And just like that whole vibe and atmosphere. We saw the Breeze played earlier in that night, so that's Paige Becker's team, youngest team in Unrivaled, and I just feel like the vibes there were so good, and it's really fun to see people just like embrace these women as icons. Frankly, I love seeing that. Gets me every time. Gets me every time. So
all right, I think that's the end for today.
That's it.
That's all we got.
So thanks for being with us. Tune in next week for more.
Yeah, we'll have more next week. Socials, RTG_pod, raisingthegamepod@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And catch us on YouTube and Spotify.
Bye.
Bye.